If you're looking for a clearer picture on how Social Security survivor benefits work and why they really matter for you, then you've came to the right place. Most people think of Social Security as an individual benefit. You work, you earn credits, you collect a check, but for many people, it's actually much more complicated than this. And for married couples, Social Security is rarely an individual decision. It's going to be a household decision, and often it's one of the largest guaranteed assets that a family will ever need to manage. If you've been watching our Social Security series so far, you probably realize by now how Social Security has way more levers to pull than most people realize, and it's not just a simple on off switch. And if you haven't watched any of our previous videos yet, click the card that's going to pop up over my shoulder and check out the full Social Security series so you don't miss any important details on how this benefit really works for you. In this video, we're going to talk about spousal and survivor benefits. Not the rules in isolation, but how these benefits change outcomes for households over time. Because this is one of the areas where small misunderstandings can quietly cost families hundreds of thousands of dollars over the course of their lifetime. And the reason being for that is, if you're married, there are effectively three Social Security benefits in play: your benefit, your spouse's benefit, and the survivor benefit that remains after one of you is gone. I'm Jacob Euler, co-owner of Grand Summit Wealth Management. I work with high-income individuals, families, and business owners, and I've helped over 100 clients transition to retirement by coordinating decisions like Social Security with taxes, portfolio income, and longer-term planning. This channel is called 1% Wealth Secrets because at higher levels of wealth, decisions don't live in silos, they compound. Now let's start with spousal benefits. If you're married, one spouse may be eligible to receive up to 50% of the other spouse's full retirement age benefit. That's not 50% of what the other spouse actually collects, it's 50% of their benefit at full retirement age. This is especially relevant when one spouse earns significantly less over their career, or if they have to step away from the workplace for a period of time, whether that be because of raising kids, going back to school, or potentially even a medical issue that they had to combat at the time. And as a result, they got a zero written down for one of those years that Social Security throws into the calculation for how much your benefit is going to be. In those cases, Social Security isn't just reflecting work history, it's redistributing income within the household. Now, here's the key nuance. To receive the full spousal benefit, the spouse claiming it must wait until their own full retirement age. Claiming earlier, which is 67 for most people, will permanently reduce that amount, even if it's for the spousal benefit. Now, let's talk about survivor benefits because this is where the stakes really start to rise significantly. If one spouse passes away, the surviving spouse may be eligible to step into the higher of the two benefits. So, in other words, one Social Security check disappears, and the larger one, not the living one, continues. This is why claiming decisions made years earlier can have impacts on you decades later and potentially large financial consequences or financial betterment as well. And that being because the survivor benefit often becomes the primary guaranteed income source during the most financially vulnerable phase of retirement, which is going to be as you continue to progress in age. Let's walk through a realistic example to help this make sense and how it plays out in real life. Let's look at a married couple that at full retirement age has one spouse eligible for a $4,800 monthly benefit and the other eligible for a $2,200 monthly benefit. Together, that's about $7,000 per month from Social Security while both of them are alive. Now suppose the higher earning spouse delays Social Security until age 70. That benefit is going to increase from $4,800 to roughly $6,000 per month. And if that spouse passes away later in retirement, the surviving spouse doesn't keep both checks, they keep the higher one. And that difference between 4,800 versus 6,000 per month for the surviving spouse, that's going to be a difference of over $14,000 per year in additional guaranteed income for them that they will continue to receive. And over a 15 to 20 year period, as you can expect, that decision alone can impact lifetime outcomes by well over $200,000 in that time frame. This is why claiming Social Security is rarely about just our income today. It's about protecting income for the spouse who may live longer and who will be making these decisions by themselves at that point. Now, there's also going to be important considerations for divorced spouses. If a marriage lasted at least 10 years and you're currently unmarried, you may be eligible for spousal or survivor benefits based on your former spouse's record. These benefits don't reduce what your ex receives, and they don't require coordination with them. So if you don't want to have to worry about having an uncomfortable conversation, don't worry, you don't have to have it. But the rules here are precise, and mistakes are common, which is why this is another area where assumptions can quietly become expensive. The key takeaway is this: Social Security decisions ripple throughout a household for decades, not just once you turn the benefit on. They affect income while both spouses are alive, and they often matter even more once one spouse is gone. So for families we work with, the goal isn't maximizing one person's benefit. It's creating the most resilient income structure for the household as a whole in various phases of their life. Now, if you're married or divorced with a long work history and you haven't looked at Social Security through this lens, then it may be worth slowing down before making permanent decisions. If you're approaching retirement, or you're already there, and you want help evaluating how spousal and survivor benefits fit into a broader financial plan for you, you can schedule a financial consultation using the link in the description below. There's no obligation. It's simply just a conversation to see whether some guidance would add value to you and your long-term financial game plan. In the next video in our Social Security series, we'll talk about working while collecting Social Security, what actually happens when benefits are withheld, and why so many people misunderstand the earning limits entirely. So make sure to check out that one, and we'll see you in the next one.